Hello, everyone. From Realtors Property Resource, this is the Wow Factor. I'm Reggie Nicolay, and I'm joined by my co-host, Jeannie Willett. We're here to apply our 20 plus years of marketing experience to help you identify practical tips and winning strategies that help gain the attention of your potential clients. Each month, we'll explore a new topic, interview an industry expert, and then break down the how-to with a quick tutorial. All to help you wow your clients and close more deals. Jeannie, throughout the years, we've highlighted different ways realtors can leverage social media, but we hear the process can be challenging. I mean, is your ad copy catchy enough? How about the image or video? Does it grab the attention of the consumer? Are you targeting your audience correctly?
Not to mention the logistics of putting it all together. The Facebook Ads Manager is not the simplest tool to use, and I think it can feel overwhelming just to begin. But you really can't discount how valuable social media marketing is.
That's right. It's becoming more and more of an essential part of the business.
Lucky for our listeners today, we have a special guest that has perfected the art of Facebook advertising.
That's right. Travis Thom, founder of Elevated Real Estate Marketing, who is a genius, by the way, when it comes to teaching advertising strategy. I'm really looking forward to this conversation.
Me too. I can't wait to get his input on everything. And a reminder of the flow of the show. After our interview, we'll talk to the what's new and what's next guys, and then Reggie will do a quick tutorial on RPR in the breakdown. And don't forget, if you haven't already, subscribe to our YouTube channel to keep up to date on all things The Wow Factor.
All right, let's talk to Travis.
Today, we're fortunate to be talking with Travis Thom, leading Facebook marketing strategist who specializes in helping the real estate industry perfect their lead generation techniques. Travis is founder of Elevated Real Estate Marketing. Welcome, Travis.
Thank you very much. Excited to be here.
Travis, for years, the gold standard in real estate marketing seemed to be activities like direct mail, door-to-door marketing, or maybe offline events, but things have changed. Why is Facebook advertising a good option for realtors who are looking to engage their networks online?
Well, a couple different reasons. Right now we're seeing a huge surge of traffic on Facebook and Instagram. During the past 6-7 months of COVID and the pandemic, the McKinsey study came out and they said there's been over 10 years of technology adoption and growth just in this short amount of time. There's been a 50% increase in traffic on Facebook and Instagram and other social networks. So with that, there's more people online to reach with a very short amount of actual capital being pushed into your marketing expenses. Now, we also have seen historically that about the average home buyer spends around an hour and a half a day on Facebook and Instagram. And with that, about 67% around there of those home buyers today work with the first agent they have a conversation with. So using social media and being able to really pull into the big data, right? Facebook uses around 50,000 unique data points on each one of its users. So it has a massive amount of intelligence to understand exactly what people are going to be doing in the near future. It basically is a prediction tool, right? It's going to predict based on their behaviors and habits on and offline. So websites you've visited, apps you've downloaded. So for instance, did someone look at Credit Karma and then maybe 2 weeks later, they went through an online mortgage calculator, or then they downloaded, some sort of real estate property search app. All of those are key signals multiplied times, thousands of different data points that's aggregated that will identify the right type of prospect and avatar for then you to run ads to them and then harvest them as a potential prospect or lead through Facebook lead generation, and then follow up with them over time. So you're really using big data and you're really using it based on timely, relevant information to provide them information of value to create that kind of bond and connection before your competitors might be able to reach them. So if you're thinking of door knocking and cold calling, some of those techniques might be a little bit more of a shotgun approach be physically exhausting, that can actually be a lot of capital output that you may not be able to then get a solid return on investment. But with online advertising, it's a little bit different. You're laser focused, you're leveraging big data, you're data driven, and it's just a little bit less cost in terms of getting in front of thousands or tens of thousands of people.
It's fascinating.
Not to mention that nobody's opening their doors anymore.
Right. Yeah. Not to mention, give me space. Yeah.
Yeah. So is there anything that you see agents doing day in and day out with their Facebook advertising that just doesn't work?
Definitely. So, what we see a lot is that people are boosting posts thinking that that is in fact Facebook advertising, but it's really hamstringed in terms of the algorithm looks at boosting a post to the equivalent of what's called PPE, which stands for page post engagement. And so page post engagement is really for comments, likes, and shares. That's what the software, what's what the algorithm is engineered for, to find people that are going to comment, like, or share that specific post. It's not engineered to get them to click on it and move to a landing page, not to click on it and become a lead or to message you. It can work in some instances depending on your goal, right? What is your end game? What do you want out of your Facebook marketing? So if you're boosting post and you have the expectation that you're going to be receiving leads and phone calls and conversations, and it's going to have massive brand awareness to where people see you in public, they're like, hey, I saw that video or that listing you just did. That's not going to happen, right? It's more than likely going to develop a couple people to engage with that post, but nothing really beyond that. So we see people doing that. We see people also doing what they call public service announcements, which is that you're posting saying, look at this new listing, look how gorgeous it is, but there's not any call to action. There's not any desire built up. And we have a copywriting formula that we use called ADIA. It stands for attention, interest, desire, and action. So you got to grab their attention with some sort of beautiful photo. Then from there, the interest, which is that you got to describe what it's about a little bit more. Who is this for? And then the desire part, see all the photos and details, right? And all the information beyond that. So don't give away all the juicy stuff just yet. Give them just enough where you want them to click on it and then move forward to the next destination URL, a landing page, a website, whatever it might be. And then the action part, click here to see the list of homes. Click here to download the guide, right? Tap here to see all the photos and details and pricing. So that formula is what's going to derive more of an action. If you leave out the desire and the action part of that copywriting, then it's just a public service announcement. It's not going to get a lot of traction. And Facebook and Instagram both focus in the algorithm on high click-through rate. That's the key common denominator that Facebook looks for to say the audience has spoken, right? This is what they want. This is a highly desirable content and it's optimal. So we're going to float it up higher in the ad auction, get it to bigger audiences, reach more people, and have higher intent prospects.
Another area it seems like they're having challenges in, and I constantly hear, I want seller leads, and but I see them having challenges getting the conversation started. And I recently saw you share something specific, and it was a tip around the macro to micro strategy. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Definitely. So there's a couple different ways we approach that. And a lot of times we think it is kind of counterintuitive. We think that if we provide a home valuation or a seller guide to someone, that it's really going to generate a lot of seller leads. And it's actually been, for us, it's proven the opposite. You're going to generate some, but they're going to be typically a high cost per lead and not a lot of conversations. The way that we look at that is that it's too much of a direct response and it's almost too late in the game. People on Facebook and Instagram, we have to remember that this is interruption marketing, and you need to interrupt them with an item of value during their customer journey, during their cycle, which might be 3, 4, 5, 6 months before they actually end up listing their home for sale. But a lot of the time, they are actually buyers before they're sellers. So from a psychological standpoint, most of them, how they start their journey is, I'm going to sell my home, but I need to look out to the market first. I need to see which community is best for us. What school district are we going to move into? Is this the right type of property for us? So before they do that, they need to then quantify how much can they get out of their house to put on a down payment, but they're looking at it from the lens of a buyer. And so what we do there is we use buyer ads that are basically offering a list of homes for sale in a certain area, typically a Facebook lead ad using a lead generation objective. And they go through and it's basically positioned for a buyer. But at the very end on that Facebook lead ad form, we ask them one question, which is, do you own a home? Yes or no? If they say yes, then we have a seller lead. We have someone that wants to buy, but they're most likely also going to sell. And that's going to generate a lot lower cost per lead. You're going to get a large volume of it. And the threat level is low. The threat level in terms of what I mean by that is when you're offering an item of like a seller guide, it's a little obvious that you're going to follow up and there's probably going to be some high pressure sales is what they feel like, right? I feel like if I sign up for this, people are going to call me right away and I don't want that. It's going to repel them a little bit there. They don't want information on that. They want information on their direct goal, which is finding a home now, and then they're going to sell later. So that macro to micro is the micro part is giving them an item of value. And then you follow up with certain information, right? That leads to the macro, which is the macro to the micro, which is then focusing more on their house and their sale. So you might follow up after you offered them that list of homes and say, hey, I noticed that you said you do own a home. Congratulations. Thanks so much for checking out the listings that we posted on Facebook. Not quite sure if you're going to sell your home in the near future, if you need a down payment from that. But if you want to know the value of a home and how much you're going to net so you can really position yourself and be in the right position to buy a home and get that down payment out of there, would you like a custom home valuation? I'm doing about 7 of them for clients in the area that you're in. We'd love to do it for you. No obligation. Takes about a couple hours for me to send it to you. That's the opportunity to develop that one-to-one conversation. But you need to give them an item of value and reciprocity first that is not threatening, that solves that need in the moment. Now, the other side of that is doing something like a market report that really identifies homeowners. Who wants to download a market report of all the homes that have sold in the past 6 months, right? And what the average home is selling for? Probably not buyers, right? Probably people that are actually going to sell their home and that might be buyers, or they're going to be buyers eventually, but they're more concerned about what is the value. Then from there, you funnel down, and then you can follow up with the offering of a custom home valuation, which brings up the conversation that's more hyper relevant about their home and their needs with that home and selling in the near future.
You really thought about this.
Yeah.
This is incredible.
It's a much more subtle form of marketing. And you're right, as you describe it, I think I hate aggressive marketing. I'm immediately put off by anything that feels like in my face. I want to shut it down immediately. Even if I know I need that, if it feels aggressive, I'm turned off right away and I shut it down. So speaking of the subtle marketing, I see more and more relevant ads in my newsfeed. I'll see an ad for something I recently viewed or products in the same category. I feel like I've said it out loud and seen it on my Facebook feed, sort of, scarily. So tell me a little bit about how companies are doing this and why realtors should follow suit.
Definitely. So it's, it's a lot of aggregating data. So Facebook has what's called the Facebook Pixel. And the Pixel is a snippet of code that's installed on the back end of your website as an advertiser. It's this free piece of code that's basically tracking kind of code, right? Almost like a cookie in a way. And when you land on a website, it's basically recording what you're doing on there, what website you were on before, what website then you went to after you were on that website, when you were on that website, how much time did you spend? Did you click the red button versus the blue button? What did you buy the $500, pair of boots or the, $30 necklace, right? Whatever it might be, it's aggregating all of that data and positioning it to Facebook being the mothership, but this pixel is installed on billions of sites, billions of sites. Along with that, all of that data that's being recorded, you have other companies like Axiom is a big data company, right? Axiom, Data Guru, where they're harvesting data from credit card companies, they're harvesting data from grocery stores, from magazine purchases, from Pottery Barn. There's data brokers that are bundling all of this data up and then offloading it and selling it basically almost like a stock market kind of exchange. So these people that are taking this data that's also fed into Google and Facebook and everywhere else, Facebook is the one that has probably the most accurate and the largest amount of this data to understand. I find it's being able to embrace technology and serve ads to you that in products to you that may be outside of your scope. But for an agent, all you have to do is go in the Facebook ad manager to really leverage this. So kind of a couple of things I would suggest doing in terms of targeting, because it all kind of boils down to targeting with this, is that there's a couple different strategies, right? Now targeting is based on your key behaviors and interests, things you've done online and offline. And there's a couple of different ways to go ahead and execute this. There's 5 major targeting interests that we use a lot, which is online mortgage calculator, Credit Karma, Realtor.com, Zillow, home buying. Those 5 right there, you can type those in, and that's a targeting interest that's going to go after buyers that are actively using those apps, doing those behaviors, those habits, and searching through those things. There's what we call key point indicators, right? They indicate they're probably on the journey to go ahead and buy or sell in the near future. Now, beyond that, there's also something that we did about a couple year and a half, 2 years ago. It was really counterintuitive, which is that we didn't use any targeting interests at all. And we just fed Facebook a geographic location, gave them the photos and the ad copy and the destination URL that were all hyper relevant to real estate, and made sure that they were really explanatory so that they exuded that this is for real estate, and that it was showing to the people that were more than likely to actually buy or sell a home in the near future. So there's a couple different ways that you can really do this. There's that, or then you can also then run Facebook video ads that are highly relevant topics, like check out this new home and we're doing a tour of it in the backyard of this development. Run that as an ad, big audience. Anyone that watches around 50% of that video, then you can build a custom audience out of that and then run ads to them. And so you kind of taken a macro to micro and refine the audience, and it's just going to have a higher intent prospect audience outside of that.
Such good ideas. Really, 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 that's a good one. I love it.
Thank you. Well, yeah, no, that's what I'm here for.
It seems again so obvious, but until you really break it down, it's really not. So I love that.
My whole goal from the beginning, when I got into the marketing aspect of real estate, was to really bring a higher level of marketing, innovation, technology, because when I started in real estate, there really was kind of same old. You get the recipe card in the mail. There's, a magnet you might have on the fridge, right? There wasn't a lot of actual great marketing. And I think that we were almost kind of held to that as an industry for several years, that we were considered outdated. We were behind the times. And now the experience with Amazon Prime, with Apple, with these different companies that are so innovative and forward thinking and adopted by a lot of people, that we need to, the benchmark has been set, and we need to raise our bar and start to achieve better marketing that's a little bit more not only humanized but intelligent and also fun, that also just has a better way to position us as a community.
Well said.
Well, I think we could talk to you all day, Travis.
Seriously.
We've only tipped the iceberg of, all of your strategies, but thank you so much.
Of course, thank you.
Amazing.
Hey everybody, I'm Mike and welcome back to another round of What's New in RPR. We had a pretty nice highlight this past month content-wise. It's the next installment of our Wow Moment series where we feature actual realtors and their RPR success stories. This new blog article features Charlandra Thompson. She's a commercial agent out of Dallas, Texas. Now, Charlandra posted a picture of herself working, using RPR, and wearing her RPR t-shirt. I just knew I had to reach out to her and hear her story. And boy, I'm glad I did. She was a home run. Just a real pleasure to talk to. And here's what makes her article so great. Charlandra talks about how she uses specific features and tools in RPR, but more importantly, how she applies them to real, tangible business situations. Commercial real estate can get a little complicated. So it's nice to see how someone uses RPR to communicate to their clients and get deals done. As a special bonus, this article has a direct link to one of our commercial guided shortcuts, which we launched last month. Be sure to read the article and take a tour of the RPR site selection tool. And in keeping with the theme of this month's topic, I want to call out something we posted a few months back. It's called the Ultimate Guide to Facebook Lead Ads for Realtors. After Reggie conducted a very popular webinar on this subject, we decided to put together a thorough step-by-step guide on how agents can create Facebook ads. After you watch this episode and hear from Travis, I think you're going to want to check it out. That's it for What's New. Here's Aaron with What's Next.
Hey everyone, like Mike said, I'm Aaron and I'm going to walk you through what's next from RPR. So first up, and right around the corner, is NAR's 2020 Realtors Conference and Expo, with the governance meeting taking place on Monday, November 2nd through Friday the 13th, and the conference events and the virtual expo running from Monday, November 16th through Wednesday the 18th. So if you haven't already done so, register today and make sure you stop by and say hi at the RPR virtual booth. So what else is next? Well, hopefully you. And just like Mike mentioned with Charlandra, do you have a strategy that you're using to wow your clients and close more deals? How about a great hack or tip that you're using in your business? It can be with or without RPR. We want to hear about it. So tell us your story down in the comments and you may be the next featured guest right here on the Wow Factor. And with that, that's what's next from RPR. Now, I'm going to throw it back over to Reggie for the breakdown.
And now for the breakdown. In this segment, I'll run through a few ways you can use RPR reporting mixed with the macro to micro strategy Travis mentioned earlier in the show. You'll recall Travis mentioned that agents are often looking to generate seller leads when they're advertising online. But what many agents find out is when they're advertising with a message that's targeted to sellers, they often have a higher cost per lead while also appearing too late in the customer journey. And some of the seller messaging actually triggers what Travis calls high threat awareness, or the feeling that they're being sold to. Instead, Travis mentioned a strategy of switching to buyer-focused ads that can generate seller leads by making a subtle adjustment. He mentioned adding a checkbox to your Facebook lead ad that asks the prospect if they already own a home. Those individuals that answer yes will likely need to sell a home before they buy. This creates a terrific opportunity for a follow-up asking if they would like to get an estimated value of their home to better understand how their equity would affect their down payment. Now for the focus of the breakdown today, I'll give you a quick preview of a few reports that work great as lead magnets for each step in Travis's strategy. First, for your buyer ads, consider using a market activity report customized to show properties that match your target audience or a neighborhood report that details the surrounding area. Then, once you've identified a buyer prospect that also owns a home, use the mini property report to quickly deliver an estimated home value back to the consumer. I'll show you how to create a customized market activity report and a mini property report with RVM. Let's walk through those steps now. First, let's generate a market activity report. From RPR, select the market activity search type. Then enter an area such as a city, zip code, or even a neighborhood name. Choose how far back to show the changes and then select which property statuses you want to include. For example, we'll include new, pending, recently sold, and price change. You'll select Advanced if you would like to display only specific property types, value ranges, beds, bathrooms, living area, lot size, and year built. Now with our search criteria entered, let's choose Search. If you don't see the large map, select Map View. Using the map navigation, zoom and pan to clearly show the neighborhood or area you will focus on for your market activity report. Above the map, in the Map Tools section, select either the Draw a Shape pull-down or Show Geographies. If you've selected Show Geographies, predefined areas will display in the pull-down. Try selecting micro, minor, intermediate, or macro boundaries. Select an area and then click Search this geography. From there, you can easily create your market activity report. But for this example, I'll use a custom area. That means I'm going to select Draw a Shape. You'll then have the option to either choose box, radius, or polygon. I'll select polygon and then I'll click on the map to drop points for the area of the shape. When I connect the last point, a prompt will appear asking me to save or search. Click Save and then we'll give the search a name. This name will appear on your report cover. Now choose Create a Report. From the Reports page, select Market Activity Report. To customize, select More Details. Otherwise, confirm the report elements, personalize your report, and then choose a delivery method, download or email. Now to generate a mini property report so we can have a home valuation follow-up using the RVM or Realtor Valuation Model. For this, you can use the mobile app or the website. Simply start an all property search, enter the subject property, and click the magnifying glass to continue. You'll arrive at the subject property, preview the RVM, and then continue on to create a report. From the Reports page, select Mini Property Report. Follow the steps we just mentioned to customize your report as needed. Choose how you'll deliver your report, download, or email. And just like that, you'll see how quickly you can create reports for advertising lead magnets and customized follow-up campaigns. We've reached the end of this segment. I hope you enjoyed this month's edition of The Breakdown.
That breakdown was so great. I think it's so valuable to show all the different strategies that use RPR's reports. The market activity report mixed with RPR's mini property report as a follow-up really fits well with Travis's macro to micro tactic for attracting seller leads.
It's true. They seem to fit perfectly. Travis's point about lowering the ad threat level by leveraging buyer ads was really fascinating. What a great way to identify sellers early in the process while they're researching areas, schools, and anything else.
And with that, we've reached the end of the show. As Aaron mentioned earlier, we'd love to hear what topics you'd like us to cover on the Wow Factor. From realtor success stories to current industry trends, what's most valuable to you? You can reach out to us via Facebook, YouTube, or on the RPR blog, blog.narrpr.com, which has all our resources, articles, video tutorials, webinars, and more. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel to keep up to date on all things the Wow Factor.
Thank you so much for joining us. This is Reggie and Jeannie signing off. Stay safe out there.
Bye-bye.